Hey everyone, this is Thyworm and today I want to talk about the Kingewitch Fiery Bunny Hopper Build. Many people asked me about a Kingewitch build, so here it is. Philosophy behind the build. This build is primarily just for fun. It's a very funny build to try out. It doesn't have a specific purpose, but once you get some gear with some sunfire damage and attack damage, you can do pretty well. Master Kablar was fine for me, hard Gauntlet and hard other bosses as well. I'm sure that with the right gear and practice you can defeat everything, maybe even Master Difficulty Gauntlet. The idea behind this build is to hop around, dash away and use flamestrike. That's it. This is not complicated. This is not even original, I think, but it's a very fun build. I tested this build live on my stream Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 8 PM Central European Time on twitch.tv/Thyworm. I got your feedback and this is the result. Let's look at the skills. The skill tree will be very simple. Our primary attack is modified twice. Throat slash is one of the ways we can stun enemies for safety and for flamestrike. Another modifier is guarding strikes, because it adds some defensive capabilities. 5% physical and elemental damage reduction per strike for a total of 20% is worth 1 potency point, I feel. Then we move on to the hopping part. In order to hop, we pick Stomp. Just a single point. We modify it with the Don't Move nodes, so our hop stuns. The final node is Preemptive Violence, which allows us to do double damage on full health enemies. Because your Stomp is the first attack in the rotation, this is a great modifier to have. Favor of Dabog increases the Stomp damage significantly. The initial physical damage is not that important, but the fire damage is. That's our main source of damage. This is what we gear for, so this is a modifier you want. The Carnage nodes leading up to this increase the AoE range, further increasing our reach of damage. The Stone Skin nodes give us yet another round of physical damage reduction. This allows for additional defensive bonuses once you enter the fray. Quick Recovery is also a must-have modifier, providing you with an extra charge so you can hop around to your heart's content. The only other ability we're taking on is Flamestrike. We put 2 points into it, so it does 390% sunfire damage, which is insane. And then let's look at the modifiers. Recovery gives you a 50% chance to reset the skill cooldown when using dash. Once you figure out how to dash in your rotation, this is extremely useful. We go with Fiery Torment to take more advantage of our sunfire related gear. Another 200% sunfire is very welcome. Punishment is the big one here because it deals double damage to stunned enemies, and we stun enemies by using our primary attacks or Stomp. So you start to get the idea here, I feel. Some interesting notes to discuss as well. We have Slow Roast, which makes enemy affected by Flamestrike burn for yet another 150% sunfire damage. Raging Fire increases the crit chance for this ability by 30%, and I had a crit chance of already 20% on my gear, and that can be much higher even, so this ability for me crits like half of the time. Do a crit on a stunned enemies and we're talking pretty massive damage here. The last node increases the wave width by 1.5 meters, so that's not too bad either. All other skills in the tree we skip. First, they don't really contribute to the build, and second, we're already out of potency points. So we keep it simple, 2 skills, but that doesn't mean this build is boring. Quite the contrary, I would say. Gear. In order for the Fiery Bunny Hopper to work, we need at least somewhat decent gear. In terms of damage, you should focus on sunfire damage and attack damage bonus. These two are the main contributors to your damage output. Whenever you can get crit bonus, that's good as well, because Flamestrike crits a lot and the additional crit bonus is being put to good use. Even though we're hopping and dashing around, we are still a melee character, therefore we need some defensive stats. I went mainly for fortitude, armor and some elemental resistances. Astral Shield is sort of fine, but I feel armor on melee characters is overall better. My gear at this point in time is really not optimized, but this item for example is a pretty good one. It got flat fire, bonus fire and attack damage bonus on a single item. Also, the other stats are not terrible. This gives you somewhat of an indication what to look for. How to play. The rotation is pretty easy. You start off with Stomp to stun the enemies. You walk back a bit while swinging some auto attacks to position yourself for the Flamestrike. Then you Flamestrike the stunned targets for a lot of damage, especially if you crit. You dash away, hopefully reset Flamestrike, and then you rinse and repeat. There are some variations on this rotation. For example, you can use right mouse button after the stomp to regain resources if you need them. On bosses, the stun won't work, so I would change the rotation slightly. You jump in with stomp, you dash out, and then you flamestrike from a safe distance. This you can repeat until you run out of resources, and then you need to hit something with either auto attacks or right mouse button. For me, the build definitely worked better against groups of enemies, let's say the gauntlets, than it did against bosses. This build does okay-ish, but it's not the best single target damage. Much better are mobs or enemies, stun them all, regain resources, do massive crit damage, and above all just have a lot of fun. I'm putting out multiple videos per week with the latest news, patch notes, discussions, devlog dissections, and guides and tutorials like this build guide. So subscribe, there's more builds coming up soon. And hey, if you liked the video, please hit the like button or share the video. It really helps me reach a larger audience, so we can grow this community. Thanks for watching and making it to the end. I will see you soon. Bye bye.